Now, let's come on to Africa. And well, first of all, here is the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov. He has been in Guinea, Congo, Burkina Faso and Chad over the last few days. The Deputy Defence Minister, Yakurov, has been visiting Libya, Mali and Niger. So they've been taking separate trips. So these are really the efforts to gain some traction in Africa against what's been going on, at least the influence of Western powers, including the UK and France and the United States. So these are the countries that they have been, or at least Russia has influence in already. So the ones in pink there, or sort of reddish colour, are places where there's already some military deployment. The countries that are marked in yellow are places where there's already a defence agreement with Russia. But their main point here is that they are really aiming to strengthen economic engagement in these countries in various sectors, especially in nuclear energy. And they're aiming to mitigate the impact of pressure between these countries, Russia and the West. So they're attempting to shall we say, develop new export markets for these places as well. And they, of course, also want to garner some new political allies in the region. And we've seen, for example, France, the French military and also the US military being expelled from a number of countries in the Sahel. And as we were talking about on Monday's program or Friday last week, can't remember which, we were talking about the fact that the Sahel is sort of the main, viewed as the main stomping ground of the European Union. They consider that their southern neighbourhood. It's a place where Tony Blair and his institute is very interested in operating. So there is a definite effort to counter any Chinese or Russian influence in the region. And the fact that they are working so hard to develop these markets, particularly since the sanction regime was imposed, makes this a real hotbed for potential escalation in the future. In the meantime, many of those African countries taking part in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, which is going on at the moment. And we have a little bit of video of Vladimir Putin talking about, he was talking on the sidelines of the conference. His main speech is happening right at this moment, I believe, or may just be over. But anyway, he was talking about the situation with NATO and the narrative of Russia wanting to take over Europe. Let's have a listen to this, or watch the subtitles at least.
Не надо формировать образ врага из России. Вы сами себе только вредите этим, понимаете? Вот напридумывали, что Россия хочет напасть на НАТО. Вы сбрендили совсем, что ли? Тупые вообще, как этот стол? Кто это придумал? Это чушь, понимаете? Бред собачий. Но это было бы бредом, да? Если бы не было задумкой для того, чтобы одурачивать свое собственное население. Говорит, караул, скоро Россия на нас нападет, и мы должны срочно вооружаться, срочно, значит, направлять вооружение, значит, на Украину. А на самом деле для чего это делать? Чтобы удержать свое собственное имперское положение и величие. Вот для чего это делается. Вот для чего эти угрозы и пугалки для бюргеров в Германии, во Франции и в других частях Европы. Вот для чего. Такой угрозы не существует и быть не может. Мы сами себя защищаем на Украине.
Now, I'm going to say I find it very hard to argue with that, particularly with the escalation in Ukraine. Now, we were talking about the fact that Ukraine has now been given the go-ahead to attack targets inside Russia. Using Western weapons. And somebody had commented to me that, of course, this has been going on for quite some time. Well, that's true, but it's the targets that have been selected more recently that are of concern here, particularly. So this is a Responsible Statecraft website here. Droning Russia's nuke radars is the dumbest thing Ukraine could do. And this is the point. The latest targets have been Russia's nuclear early warning systems. And of course, this is a direct attack on Russia's nuclear infrastructure, and that escalates things somewhat. So, you know, Putin has been absolutely clear now that this is absolutely unacceptable. So he's basically saying that if Russia is attacked, it has the legal right to retaliate. Such actions could lead to a major disaster, effectively World War III. And I think that's absolutely right. And the danger in what we are doing at this point in the West is off the charts. And the other point to make was, just listening to Joe Biden at the D-Day commemoration yesterday was quite incredible, as he used that as an opportunity to suggest or draw parallels between what's happening with Ukraine and what happened during the Second World War. And just to end this segment, I just want to bring this on screen because this is the Telegraph. And we just always got to watch the headlines and see the types of language that they're using. So the headline on this article from today, actually, or yesterday, was Russian warships sent to Caribbean for surprise war games. So when the Russians are doing it, it's war games because it's all about war. When we're doing it, it's a training exercise. And you've got to be, so the headline from this one is pictured HMS Prince of Wales full steam ahead in NATO training exercise. This is Steadfast Defender that we talked about earlier in the year, because this is the biggest NATO exercise that's taken place ever. So I just thought it was interesting to contrast the language that's used in those two cases, because Russia is all about war and we're all about peace, aren't we?